I don't really want to write, but probably will be helpful. I'll grab my notebook too.
Okay.
All right.
I'm actually going to try to turn on the light because this darkness on me is driving me nuts. It's a little better.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so what did we want to start out talking about?
I could start us off if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
I was looking at the study guide and it was talking about knowing all the different parts of theories and how they relate to each other and like how they're different. And I just can't quite remember the definitions of all of them. There's like assumptions, concepts, propositions, and something else. I'll double check really quick. But does anyone remember what those are? Oh yeah, just so assumptions, concepts, propositions, how the theories work.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm just trying to find it in my notes.
Okay.
Okay, so we had, I don't have it in my notes. That means it got put in my other notebook that my children lost.
Yay!
Yay! Yay for having 6 kids. Yeah, okay. So, which, you said there was different parts of it, and if I can remember them, I can probably think about it, but, let me bring up my study guide too, maybe that will help me.
I do remember now that concepts, so it was concepts, assumptions, propositions. I think concepts are like the specific, I don't know, vocab that the theory uses or the specific ideas that it kind of works around. And then assumptions are like things that it assumes to be true, but I don't remember what propositions are, and I don't quite remember. I don't know if those other definitions are exactly right.
Okay. The concepts, assumptions, propositions. Wasn't there another
Thing?
part to that?
I thought so, but on the study guide, there's just those 3, but then it also says like how theories work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's it.
Like, because I know, like, in the different theories that we've been studying, like, it actually goes through all of this, right? Like, it goes through assumptions, propositions, like the actual concept of the theory, which is basically like, what does this theory entail, and you know, what's it about? Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so I'm just trying to remember which week it was in, because if I can remember which week, then I can look at it real quick and I'll remember it, because like I remembered this. Like, this is one of the things like I understood. Okay, so it was week 2.
Okay.
What is a theory? Okay, so basically just has like introduction, assumptions, concepts, and propositions. Okay, so those are the 3 different parts of a
Where was the
theory.
study guide? Because I had it on my computer, but I don't know where it went.
So they have it in, I think it's called resources, like on every single lesson. Like the very last thing in each lesson is where it shows up.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it like comprehensive or is it just like lesson 5?
It's comprehensive.
Yeah, it's basically just like, it just says areas to know, and then, you know, has it all down, like study this, study that.
And it's, so I need the study guide from each lesson, or is it just the one?
I think it's just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it goes over everything in just one. Like it's been the same one every lesson. It's just like, hey, get ready to know this for your exam.
Okay.
So, okay, so. This is like all the videos that we watched for that. I didn't really want to read. Okay. All right. So did you find it and bring it up?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right. So what specifically did you want to like know about the different things that maybe we can discuss them together?
I just don't remember like the exact specific definitions of each of the parts of a theory. And I have vague ideas of what they are, but I think I just need to review it. Like that's basically what they are.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find some information now. Oh. My husband is calling. I will be right back.
Yeah. Okay. So Madeline, do you have that in your notes?
I don't. I took really crappy notes in this class until like last week.
Okay. All right. Like I have really great notes, except for not from that specific lesson. So.
Yeah. I think. So I have the transcript for the video that was explaining the parts of a theory.
Okay. That's what I was just looking at too.
Okay.
So let's see if we can find like the specific definition for her. Apparently for us too, because like I can like it makes sense in my head, but to put it to words is different.
Right.
Okay. So like for the assumption specifically, like that's kind of the easy one. It's like, okay, what are they assuming here? You know, so, and the concept is like what you take from, you're like, okay, so I have this question, this is what I want to figure out, and then your concept comes from that. And then, you know, the proposition is just like, okay, so this is what my question was, this is what I'm proposing would happen in this situation. It's kind of the same thing as like, you know, like the research or whatever, because I've like just remembering like research classes that I've taken, and it's like the same thing. It's like, okay, so we get to this, and then that leads us to this, and that leads us to this, and yeah. So let's see.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if that's making any sense.
I don't know if there is, like, I don't know if they gave us specific definitions for those.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, like, what I'm probably gonna do, because I can't give you like a definitive answer, is go watch that video from Brother Gardner, because I remember watching that and going, and everything makes sense. Like, that's amazing. I love how he told us, like, and explained it, because it made a lot of sense when he did that. I don't know. I really like Brother Gardner and everything that I've seen that he's done. So he just kind of makes sense to me.
Oh, he's awesome. I pulled up the transcript from the video as well. Something I found that I thought was cool is it says the concepts. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So he said, like, when we talk about the parts of our theory, we're talking about the assumptions. Those are the beliefs we accept just as true. We don't test them. We don't really think about them. That's why they're so difficult to figure out. It's difficult to figure out what they are. But, then he talks about, like, his example. And he said the concepts, it said these are the building blocks of a theory, like the main parts of a theory. And then he said the propositions of how the concepts are related to one another. I'll have to watch the full video.
So that makes sense then. Like it's saying assumptions are the beliefs that we accept to be true, which is kind of what I was trying to say. It's like the thing that you just like, well, everybody knows that, right? Like you just assume that everybody knows that. Like if we were to say divorce is bad, like it leads to this and that, like we assume everybody knows that, or like a lot of people in today's world just have experienced that, right? Or they've seen it in people that they're close to, so they just you assume that everybody would think, okay, yes, this is bad, and then you would build like, your concept and your proposition on that kind of belief.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. That helps.
Does that help?
Yeah.
It was kind of like, and I think that's the same kind of area where we started talking about it. I can't even say it, but the paradigms or whatever, I can't say the word. But that's like the beliefs, right? And then it talked about the different belief systems and the different ways that people believe and things like that.
Right.
So that's like the same area where we talked about all of that kind of and built upon that.
Awesome.
Do you guys have notes for the paradigms of science?
There we go. That's how you say it. I'm like, I tried to say it. I butchered it. I do, I think.
Because I wrote stuff
Yes.
down for paradigms of science, and then I was taking the quiz or whatever, and it was not correct.
Gotcha. Man.
So I have some notes. It's just saying, I don't know, I wrote down a lot of stuff actually. Like everything that was on these slides that we went through. But so I can't say the word. I really can't. I'll butcher it again. But it's the beliefs that guide our thinking. And then it says there's theories that stem from 3 different paradigms of or the worldviews. So he also described them not just as belief, but like worldviews. And then there was 3 of them: that positivism, interpretive, and that conflict or critical.
Yeah, I have that. I don't know. I think it was from the book that it was the paradigms that were in the quiz that for some reason, like, I didn't know because I'm not sure if I read the book. But I have notes on, let's see. I have notes on positivism, interpretive theory, and conflict.
The conflict critical.
Yeah.
I think those are the only 3 that we've gone over.
Oh.
I think so too. Do you remember, like, in the quiz, Like, do you
What
remember what the names of the other paradigms were, or what the other concepts were called?
No, I just knew that it was something I had not, like, I was like, where is this coming from?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. Like maybe it was something within one of those that, like, I don't know. So just quickly, do we want to go over like what those three are so we can remember them, or?
If those are the theories, then I've got them down. But I was confused.
All right. Okay. Because those are the only three that I think we went over. Those are the only ones that I know. So maybe it's just.
Maybe it was my other class. Oh man.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Were you maybe thinking of like the different kinds of theories that we talked about, like, I don't know, like feminism and like that whole interactive diagram thing with all the different. No. Okay, never mind.
I don't know where I got that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have the online textbook or the paper textbook?
I have the online one. I wish I had the in-person one.
I'm having such a hard time with this textbook.
It's really
like the online, right? I have the online, and I'm like, I can't save it where I need to save. Like I have to go find the page every time.
Search for things.
And it's so small to read, and then to enlarge it, then I have to move it back and forth. It's kind of annoying. I really don't like reading like on a screen.
Yeah.
I keep wishing that I had the other book, but
yeah.
this wasn't an option for me. So.
And it's so weird because most online textbooks, they have, you can jump to like hyperlinks to different chapters.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like, okay, let me just scroll through 200 pages of text, like
to find the one chapter. You can't even click on the chapter from the table of contents.
So dumb.
Right? I know. It's been. I'm like, I need this book in red shelf and not in the one that it came in, because mine's not in red shelf. It's in. I don't even know.
It's this random website. It's not like I wish it was on.
And then I have to keep trying to find the website, and I've bookmarked it onto my thing like 7 times, and I don't know why it won't stay bookmarked. It is what it is.
I don't know who thought of that, but whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so if you've got those down, sorry, my kitty's about to attack my bird.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Then is there something else that maybe we want to talk about? Like, I kind of struggled with the one we went over this week, the theory that we went over this week.
The exchange theory?
Yeah, like it makes sense in my mind. Like, it's like, oh yeah, like duh. That kind of just, to me, is kind of common knowledge. But at the same time, there's parts of it that I'm like, maybe I need to go study that more.
I think they complicated it more than they needed to.
Yeah, because I feel like I've learned about this somewhere else, or at least in context. Like, it's been something that just was like, oh, like, isn't that already common knowledge? Like,
yeah, that people
would choose something that would benefit them more,
right,
and not want something that like is gonna hurt them more or bring more trouble in their life. Seems like common knowledge to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Questions.
think on the quiz where what I missed, and maybe I just missed it in the reading, was kind of what were some of the problems that people had with this theory. Because like I understand the basic assumptions, I understand the propositions, like that all makes sense to me, but then in the quiz it asked like, okay, so what were some of the things that some of the issues that people had with this theory, and I was like, oh well, like I didn't remember reading about that, or and I read it, I just must have missed it when I was reading it. So did you guys notice or know like what they had said? Because it did say like on the study guide that we need to know what some of the issues are with all of the different theories.
I didn't write them down either, but I'm in the book, so let me try to find it.
I do remember one while you're looking at that. Oh yes, okay. So one of the issues that people had with it it was like people didn't like that exchange theory. It kind of I don't know how to say this. It oversimplifies people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the issues, that people didn't like, that, you know, everyone is rational all the time and is always looking out for their own self-interest, you know, and people would be like, well, how does altruism fit into that? Like, how does religion fit into, like, people's actions?
Okay, so
I did remember, like the only one that I could remember was that people were like, well, people don't always think rationally, so a lot of these aren't like, you can't say, oh, everybody's always going to think rationally, because in a teenager, they're like almost never do. So
yeah. Okay, so I have it pulled up if you guys want me to read some of it.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Okay. So the assumption that the family is just a collection of individuals is too simplistic for many theorists. For some, the family has too many unique and long-lasting aspects to be reduced basically to an economic system with interchangeable characters. The key assumption that humans act rationally in decision-making is criticized by many. The case can be made that the rational focus of the theory makes it impossible for it to deal with love and other emotional elements that make up family life.
Cool.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're not thinking rationally, then you're thinking with your emotions.
Emotions, yeah.
That makes sense.
It says social exchange theory can also be criticized for the way that it assumes that people are looking out for their best interests. Although it might be reflective of basic human nature, Heyman argued that this and other key assumptions are problematic from a Christian faith perspective. Christians are supposed to act out of love and not expectation for returned favors. It would be interesting to measure social exchange concepts against other faith traditions as well.
That is interesting.
Yeah. And then feminist theorists point out a masculine bias in social exchange theory, where it seems to assume a separate rather than connected self. I don't understand that one. Yeah, I don't really understand that one.
Like, wait.
A separate. Well, okay, so I kind of understand that, because men tend to think in like
boxes.
Yeah, in like boxes, like where we see as women, we just kind of like interchange everything, and everything is like combined for us. Where like our church experiences, our home experiences, our school experiences, they all just kind of combine into like one whole experience. But for a man, they seem to be more compartmentalized, where there's the school experiences, there's the work experiences, the church experiences, home experiences, and they're all separated. So I guess I can kind of understand where that one's coming from.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That just, I don't know, makes sense to me that way. And I think that we tend to get more emotional with our decisions than men do as well. Like women just do. Part of us.
I actually read a book. It's like my favorite psychology book of all time, but I read a book that said that the research says that the communication and emotion centers in women's brains are 80% larger than the communication and emotion centers in male brains.
Dang.
Wow. That makes sense.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
That's really funny. And then I'm sure that there are centers in the men's brains that are like a lot more substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some things where my husband talks about it and I'm like, oh, I just don't understand. But thank you. I appreciate it.
It's kind of interesting to think about that though, like through like a gospel lens, and think about how like the Lord has assigned us to like different tasks here on earth, and how like as mothers, like the communication is really important, that we are able to communicate with our children and to teach them. Like that's more on our heads than it is on the fathers. Like they're part of it, but
women have to be able to communicate with nonverbal infants.
Yeah. Yeah, so like it's, in fact, my bishop, I was talking to him last week or 2 weeks ago, and he pointed out that as a mother in Zion, I have certain spiritual gifts that my husband can't have, just because I'm a mother in Zion, and because that communication with my children is so essential as a mother in Zion, is what he was saying. And I was like, well, I hadn't ever thought about that, but it was just interesting to think about. And where I'm sure like the portions of the men's brain that would be bigger would be more geared towards providing for the family and being able to function in that way. I don't know, just a thought.
Well, that's a cool way to put it. I really like that. I really like that. And it's just funny because I was talking about this in another class with, we were just talking about how, I don't know, culture tends to sort of swing from like, I don't know, hating men to hating women, and like kind of, I don't know, like they do both, like in movies where there's the woman that's always like, oh, what do we do? And then there's, movies where the man is really dumb or like isn't a good dad or whatever. And like, I don't know. Something I was thinking about was just that like we're all stupid, but we're also all smart in different ways. And it's just silly to bash on each other, Like just, I don't know. I just wish that movies were different in that way. It'd be kind of nice to see more uplifting movies with like that, I don't know, fostered like genders together.
Yeah.
It's just not super unifying.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to think about all the different things, like different tools that like Satan uses, and just like so subtly like uses to tear apart the family. Like just like videos like that where they tear down women in their like divine roles and men in their divine roles, and they make them whatever. There's always just kind of like this kind of like it's always a battle between sexes, which it doesn't need to be, because neither of us are anything without the other. So
I read a really awesome BYU speech with my roommates. Was it a BYU speech? It was that's why I couldn't find it. It was a BYU women's conference speech, and it said when Adam and Eve fell, they not only fell from God but also from each other, and that was like men and women not only fell from God but fell from like away from each other, and that's why we have such a hard time communicating and understanding the other sex.
Mind blown.
I know, right?
Wow, that's awesome. I'm not fell away from each other, but I've never thought of it that way before. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was super good.
It'd be interesting to go and listen to that or read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find it. My roommate brought it home from class, but it's called Forgiving Eve.
Oh,
it is.
I have to write that down.
Best talk. We all, yeah, me and my roommates all sat here and read it together and just loved it.
I am so gonna read that now. Thank you. I am so excited.
Yeah, seriously. No, I've like. So my phone is just like most people's phones are full of music. Mine's all like BYU devotionals or yeah. So I'm like super excited. I have to find that now.
Yeah, I need to find it. I couldn't find it, but she told me that it was from the wrong place. So
okay. Well, that I think takes care of my exchange theory questions. Anyways, I don't know. I just like. Do you guys love this class? I love this class.
I really like it a lot. Yeah. Madeline, you're like, ah.
oh, I love the idea of it. I have a really busy schedule though, so it's really hard to devote the time that each class actually needs.
Yeah. No.
I understand.
I'm on campus in Rexburg, and so I'm like doing online classes, on campus classes, working. Like, it's just
wow.
Really busy. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as well. I'm in Rexburg and
oh really?
Yeah, which is cool. Hello. We're in but yeah, it's really busy. And honestly, like, I don't know, before this week, like I don't know, because I only just started working like this semester. Like I haven't worked and done school at the same time before, so it was kind of an adjustment for me. But yeah, I don't know. It was only like this week that I really started like to actually.
Yeah, me too. And now I have to like catch up.
Me too.
Oh man.
Oh,
wow. I'm in Arizona, so.
Oh, cool.
I'm in Arizona, and I have 6 children.
Which is a lot.
My oldest is now, because the school year is officially over this week. He's going to be a senior next year, and my youngest is a 2nd grade now because she'll be in 2nd grade, and yeah, so I know how crazy life can get. Like I had to drop 2 classes already this semester because like it's been one thing after another. Like I started out this semester and my mom had a stroke the week that school started. She actually had several like small strokes. My husband's mom's kidneys failed. I have 6 kids. So yeah, like in baseball and dance and track and everything. And I tried to take 12 credits. No. Yeah, I had to drop 2 classes. I was like, we'll try halftime.
Yeah,
halftime this semester.
I'm trying to graduate a semester earlier than I technically was planning on, so now I'm like 6 classes every semester and like
wow. I can't even imagine. Like I can handle 3 usually, like really good with my schedule.
Well, I can't imagine doing this with kids, so
I can handle 3 well, but at the same time, like this is our 5th week into the semester, and so yeah, we still have a little over half of the semester left, but now all of my kids are home for the rest of the semester.
Oh no.
So I don't get my quiet study time while they're at school, so the rest of the semester will be kind of interesting to see how that goes. Yeah, like you saw when like we got on here, I had to talk with like 2 of my sons. I'm like, hey, wait, just give me a minute. I have family stuff to take care of because that's my life.
Which is totally fine, you know? And honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for moms who are like doing school and momming at the same time. Like, it's bad. Like,
Well, the
Meanwhile, I'm
plan
like,
was
I
to wait
cannot.
till like my daughter started school, and then the Lord was like, how about no? How about now? And I was like, okay, how about now? But my husband's going to school full time too, so we're just busy.
Yeah, I'm very busy.
Yeah.
We're all-
In fact, he's in the other room doing 3 tests that are due tonight.
Oh my
I'm doing
goodness.
it.
Yikes.
And our kids are like, I'm like, there's the ramen noodles. Have fun with dinner. It's due date night.
My mom finally has, well, she's had all her kids in school for a few years now, but she's like wanting to go back to school. And I'm like, Mom, just start taking classes. And she's like, no, I have to wait till the boys are out of the house. I'm like, or till the boys are in high school. I'm like, Mom, it's never going to get easier. You just have to do it.
To tell her to start with Pathway. That's how I did it. And like Pathway, the classes you take in Pathway are like mind blown. Like, I don't know. Of course, any class you take at BYU Idaho is just kind of mind blowing. Like, you're like, wow, like, how did I never see that before? And the gospel connections and all that. So that's what I love about this. Like, but Pathway was amazing. Like the life skills class that they have in Pathway is, doesn't matter where your testimony is, it jumps like 100 times more. Like you're like, oh, and I thought I knew the gospel was true. And then I took this class and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, she's just like, I just want to wait until I have less responsibilities. I'm like, Mom, once you get all your kids out of the house, you'll have grandkids to worry about. Like it.
Yeah. So you should show her the family development theory and be like, guess what? It never gets easier.
I really appreciate that.
There are troubles in each stage. Let me tell you about them, Mom. Discuss with a friend. Check.
Yeah, that's true.
Studied for test. Boom.
Let me tell you about these family theories and how, guess what? It doesn't get easier. The tasks are just different.
Yep. Yep. Oh, here's a question I had. I posted it on the board, but I guess I'll ask you guys as well. Are the stages based on the age of the oldest child, or like where most of the children are, or because like my parents are in 3 stages right now. So do you just say that they're in 3 stages, or is it like because now I'm off at college and I'm the oldest, they're in the launching stage? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the critiques they had of the family development theory, is that it doesn't cover parents that are over like several different things, which is kind of interesting. Because I was like, so like my oldest is turning 17 pretty soon. He's going to be a senior. I'm almost to the launching stage, but I'm also in the teenage stage. I also I have an 11-year-old who's turning 12 on the same day that my oldest turned 17. So I'm also kind of like, I'm in the teenage stage where I've got 4 teenagers. But then I also have a 10-year-old and I also have a 7-year-old. So I'm still kind of in like that stage.
Right.
Yeah, so I just thought, I was like, well, I can relate to like a lot of these different stages because I've either been through them or I'm still going through them. But like, as a mother of teenagers, I can say that just like being in the teenage stage, it has changed how I am as a mother in like the younger stage with the younger children. Like I see
Like
things
you
differently.
know what to-
So I'm wondering like how that affects like the different stages, right? Because how I was with my oldest when he was 7 is not how I am with my youngest when she's 7. Just because my life experiences are different and I see like the different outcomes that like I kind of know more like, okay, this is what's heading in the teenagers.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of interesting because like they did say like give specific time periods for like these stages, right? Like they say from like the launching stage is from when the first child leaves the house to when the last child leaves the house. So that whole period is like the launching stage, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so my in-laws right now, they have 2 of their children like living with them, but they're like older, right? They're adults and have children. So how does that work with the launching stage? Because you know, that's just kind of different, like where they're at a point in their life where they have to be living back with the parents and their children are living with them. So how does that fit into this plan and this theory?
Yeah.
So that was one of the critiques of this theory, actually, was, hey, guess what? All families don't fit into this, like this stage happens here. And actually today, most families probably don't fit into this stage happens here because right. So
well, because if the launching stage lasts from the first child to the last child, my parents will be in it for like 12 years. They've just begun.
Yeah, right. So because it'll be kind of like that with me. Like my oldest will be leaving on his mission next year, and so I'll be kind of in that, like that'll be like our first year in the launching. But then my baby is 7; she turns 8 this year, so that's still, you know, we still another 10 years before she's gone at least. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting.
Yes.
Where are you dating?
Sorry, my apartment just filled up with people.
Okay, my bird is screaming in the background, so.
It is 9. Like, it's been an hour. I mean, I know we haven't really covered much, but I don't know. I should probably go.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. Like, I still have one more assignment for this class that I need to do.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I have like 3. So
I hope this at least helped a little bit. At least we know kind of the format and how to get together.
Yeah.
And maybe next time, if we come with like specific questions or if we can post them beforehand, then, because we didn't do like, we kind of did that, but if we did that, like, okay, so I think we have to meet every week or we just use a discussion board or whatever, but if we can post those questions and then we can be like, okay, so I need to prepare this, I need to figure out how to answer this question, then we can have better discussions.
Yeah, and go faster. That would be awesome. That would be great. Cool. Well, thank
you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for meetings. It's been crazy to get us together. It's good that we finally did.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get the other girl in here too.
Yeah, she had a baptism today, so I don't blame her. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording and I'll post this, and nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Let's see. I remember Sister Thacker said something about posting the attendance on the discussion board.
I can do that too. I'll just post the link and then I'll post the attendance.
Sweet, awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
We'll see you later.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.